What is up, everyone? I am the one, the only Jack Slater, aka the Comic Outlaw. Check us out on YouTube, drop us a like, subscribe, or whatever is clever. And now we're working on Maximum Carnage, part 6 of 14 in Web of Spider-Man. And yes, it's still going down. The fight for what's right, the brawl for it all, y'all. The war in New York. And Team Carnage seem to have the upper hand so far. But this time, Spider-Man swears that he's going to fight with no mercy. But speaking of someone that knows something, a little something about spilling blood, and no mercy is Morpheus, the living vampire. And he's in New York cleaning house and draining blood, taking out thieves, killers, drug dealers, basically anyone that he could suck some precious plasma out. Now, I thought this was Sleepwalker in the beginning. I was wrong. This is some dude named Karin. He sort of looks the same like Sleepwalker. You don't know, sometimes they used to colorize different characters, different colors at different times due to the lack of ink. But apparently he's an enemy of Morpheus. And just when he's about to get some sweet, sweet blood, he hears a standing ovation from a fellow killer, a fellow lethal protector, better known as Eddie Brock, aka Venom, and he's joined with Cloak and Black Cat, and they're looking for team members. And Morbius is no slouch. Aside from the vampire stuff, he actually does have super strength, reflexes. He has a hypnotic power, of course. He has a bunch of different things, so he would be a great ally to join in. And plus, he is warring with Demon Goblin. So, and Spider-Man is trying to deal with the pain in his ribs. He's trying to deal with the pain of Mary Jane, the pain of his marriage, and everything else. And apparently he decided to show no mercy, but I see none of that so far. Speaking of showing no mercy on the dance floor, damn, Mary Jane's shaking it for all it's worth. She's between two guys right now, and they look like they want to give her the peppy pepperoni, if you know what I'm saying. And she's basically dancing around trying to lose herself, basically pissed off at Parker. So she's just going out and having herself a damn good time. Now, at a movie premiere, Carnage and his group show up and they just start murdering people left and right. I mean, you gotta love it when a team comes together, and this team gels well. They all have a common goal. They all work towards that goal. And they work pretty well together. And they're just going to work. They're cleaning house. And it's funny how the club was called The Deep. Because if it wasn't for Carnage and his buddies coming in, Mary Jane would have been deep in something too, if you know what I'm saying. Or someone would have been deep inside of her. Anyways, I digress. They start destroying everything. Spider-Man's kind of helping out with the victims, because there's so many. I mean, they have just been killing nonstop all day, all night. And Spider-Man's sort of helping out with the relief, helping out finding people, while Venom and his group are looking around, trying to find Carnage. And they do end up finding them. I mean, all you gotta do is look for the biggest smoke pile and a lot of screams. So they end up in the club where they and Mary Jane are, and she's panicking, of course, as the team sets in the fight. And having Morbius on their team does make a lot of difference. Morbius knows how to deal with the Demon Goblin. He's dealt with other strong enemies before. He has a fair amount of super strength. And meanwhile, during the fighting, of course, Mary Jane gets swatted by a rock as Venom and Carnage have their moment. And everyone kind of like pairs up, teams up, and they're also mixing it up too. They're trading dance partners. They're trying to just basically stop whoever they can, however they can. And of course, Carnage and Venom have a little showdown. Venom gives him a little slap on the face with his own symbiote, and then gives Mary Jane a freaky deaky kiss. Well, she wanted to go out and have fun. I guess she got a little tongue for all her trouble. And Carnage, of course, takes a big bite out of the camera, shows New York what a soundbite really is, and the fight continues. And this is the part that I was talking about, Morbius and the Demon Goblin know each other. He's also crossroads with Ghost Rider, so he's kind of familiar to the game. And of course, everyone's fighting. Like I said, the opponents are switching back and forth, and Carnage and Venom are having a showdown. And symbiont-wise, Carnage is stronger than Venom. Every time a symbiont produces another symbiont, the symbiont after it's supposed to be stronger. Spider-Man smashes his way through after finally finding everyone. Kind of announces he's here, and the fight continues. Well, basically, no one kind of cares, The fight's been going on before him, and the fight's going to continue after he gets there. So his evil clone starts firing that cool barbed wire, and the fight happens. And this is just a great scene of just the rumble happening. Spider-Man clutching onto his ribs, still hurt, but everyone is getting into this. Everyone's been hurt. Everyone's lost team members, and the war is just going on. And I love this picture here. It just looks really nice. And of course, Black Cat, Spider-Man team up, give Carnage a nice little blow right there. And Cloak is on a revenge to kill Shriek, because Shriek had destroyed Dagger, his partner. A big explosion of light. It was cool. And of course, they're switching up, but Carnage is so powerful. I mean, like, they could get a temporary advantage over him, but overall, Carnage Symbiont is just too strong. They're going to have to gang up on him or find one of his weaknesses and knock him completely out. Now, Morbius is kind of dealing with Shriek, gives her over to Cloak, and Cloak is trying to swallow her in that cloak, that evil dimension inside of him, that dark dimension. But right before he does, and he has his vengeance, Carnage picks her up, and they go away. And this is basically their first defeat. This is the first time where Team Spider-Man can completely hold their heads high and say that they actually won one. Because they've been getting put through the dirt. They've been getting their faces dragged through the mud, and they finally have a victory. But they're not all working together. Everyone has problems. Morbius and Venom have problems with Spider-Man. Spider-Man has problems with the way they do things. And they're not really gelling as a team yet. And this has been basically the main problem they've had through this whole series, this whole Maximum Carnage series. And they need to get on board with each other. They need to figure out what's going to go on. But Spider-Man's been really on the fence about what he's going to do. So they kind of leave him behind now, because they're tired of him jumping back and forth between killing him, not killing him. So they just take off after Carnage and his team, and Spider-Man tries to find another way. And will he find that other way, though? We'll find out the next time, and I'll catch you on the flip side.